These leaders represent organizations MBK Alliance invests in that are expanding evidence-based initiatives to reduce youth violence, grow effective mentorship programs, and measurably improve life outcomes for boys and young men of color and their families. So let's kick this conversation off with our young men, the motivation behind everything we do at MBK Alliance. From the great state of California and LA County, MBK LA County, we have Jacob Black Jackson from Los Angeles Youth Uprising, otherwise known as Layup.
Working this past year with Youth Justice Coalition, Brothers on Sales Coalition, and LA Youth Uprising Coalition has been pretty stressful. You know, the way how I got into this work is when I went to Crenshaw High School and I was pushed out, and I had to find a school. And Chucos is right down the street. I got into here, and they helped me graduate literally just last year. And you know, and I found out, like, you know, this organizing work has always impacted me since, you feel me, my brother, he was shot and killed in 1994 by the LAPD 77 precinct, and he was bled to death, you feel me, and the police on scene didn't call ambulance, and like, my mom, she watched my brother spend his last day before Christmas bleeding out on the street, and you feel me, I just felt like it's always been an impact to me, because my mom, she's always been hyper vigilant with my safety. And so, like, even right now, I have my family over, my friends over, and when we're walking down the street, I've always been stopped by police, you know, just been stopped by, you know, just on random things. Like, I just been harassed just for walking with a group or two or more that identifies Black or brown, you know, and I feel as if just like, I'm harassed on a daily or any week given basis, you feel me? And I have to give out, like, these know your rights cards. It's everything you do when you're being stopped by police. We launched this like 18 years ago, you feel me? And I keep this with me. And this is also my contact information, all that on the back of it, if needed, with the organization.
And Black, you give this away a part of the work that you do with Layup?
Yeah. Layup, Youth Justice Coalition, Brothers on Sales Coalition, any youth that I'm in contact with, I would like to give them my card, what to do. Tells you, like, to stay calm, don't talk, ask for a lawyer, be safe, say no to a search, and be aware of gang profiling. So yeah, it's very important to have this, you know, because literally just last night they pulled up on us, and I just told my cousin and my brother, do not speak. I asked for a lawyer, and you know, they were just harassing us just last night, you know, about, oh, where's the gun at? Where's this wooty woo? And we're just coming out to wash a truck. You know, that's all we came out to do. And
Black, how do you think Layup has really helped you when you think about where you were a couple of years ago and where you are now?
Well, for me, I feel as if, like, you know, Layup gave me advantage to, you know, pull out like any tactics that I don't know, you feel me, against the police, any know your rights that I don't know, you feel me, I use it on them. You know, I don't speak to them. I just say, like, you know, can I see your serial ID? What are your pulling me over for? I also take the identification card, and then, you feel me, I make an incident report. I mean, so yeah. I also feel like, you know, I'm involved with more organizations that do this work and pushing for, like, you know, spaces like the space that I'm in right now is called Chucos Justice Center. You know, it helps with, like, peace building, transformative justice, which peace building is like 1,000 ways of de-escalation tactics, you know, without using oppressive tools, you know, and being able to connect with the community, helping the community in any type of way, whether it be food, safety, you know, just any type of way.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, Black. Thank you so much, brother, for telling us about that. What's your brother's name, Black, that passed away?
His name is Willis Poe Jackson. Willas Poe.
We remember Willis. We speak Willis's name. Here, let's go to the older young brothers that are in the room. Benny Estrada from New Life in Chicagoland, and Julio Marcial from Liberty Hill Foundation, which helps coordinate the work of MBK LA County. Julio, the work that you're doing is looking more at systems. You're looking at policy change to make sure that we have fewer of those incidents going forward. So tell us a little bit more about the MBK LA County Coalition and the work that you're doing and the impact you've had.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So, you know, we believe unapologetically about supporting frontline youth organizing to build power. And so this is about collective power. You know, when we started on this path, we knew LA County was #1 for all the wrong reasons. We arrest, prosecute, incarcerate more Black, Brown, Native American youth than any jurisdiction in this country. And we wanted to change that. And the way we wanted to change that was to support power building organizations that were working with young people who were directly impacted. You heard from Black. Black is one of 100 other young people who have been centered in this process, and really to be able to lift up their own personal stories. We talk about often policy development, implementation, and transformation. We're not interested in reforming anything that's broken here in LA County. And what we've seen is that when you really understand the impact of youth organizing that has had on this movement at large, it means engaging and centering young people in everything that we do, right? It really means encouraging them and supporting them as full partners and leaders in this work. And we put their voices and demands at the center of every campaign that we've done. And this has led to historic work with, again, where youth organizers have moved key stakeholders to move from allies to freedom fighters. The young people understand that change starts 2 steps past where you're comfortable. Black mentioned, and I'll give you one success story, is that 5 years ago, we developed a new division of youth diversion and development. Why? We were arresting 10,000 young people every year in Los Angeles County. 80% of those young people were eligible to be diverted to a community-based organization that could offer them support, healing, education, a job. Instead, what LA County was doing was harming these young people. And so these young people, these organizations that we support, it is truly about building collective power to transform the institutional structures that have harmed communities of color in LA County for far too long.
Julio, extraordinary work. When we get those updates all the time to see the coalitions that you're building, and I know that doesn't come easy, but it's really paying off in big ways. I know President Obama is anxious to get into this conversation, so I'm going to let Black ask President Obama a question. Black, when we were talking before, you had a question about community organizing that I think really fits with this moment. So Black, let me turn it over to you to ask the president a question.
All right. My question is going to be, as a fellow community organizer, what do you say to the current group of youth organizers like me who are fighting for justice and peace, yet getting pulled over by police on a weekly basis? How did you manage those conflicts when you were an organizer?
Well, look, first of all, if you're getting pulled over on a weekly basis, then I'm glad that you're passing out those cards. And one thing that I think would be useful would be to just start recording and gathering information about this so that that can translate into holding folks accountable. Because, wherever you live, there are, council members and, officials who are supposed to be accountable to you and other fellow citizens if you're minding your own business, not to be harassed. So that'd be my first bit of advice. Black, I think more broadly, you're on the right track, and the degree to which you can find like-minded people to work with so you don't feel alone in this work, I think is really important. My experience when I was a little bit older than you and I was working in communities is sometimes you feel as if you're not making a difference because the problems seem overwhelming. And you feel as if, man, I'm out here and I'm just trying to, do my part. And sometimes what I'm doing doesn't seem to be making a difference. But, I was in Chicago, like Anthony, and over time, as I started meeting other organizers, I was organizing on the South Side, but there were folks in Pilsen Little Village who were working in the predominantly Latino community. And then I find out that on the West Side, there are a bunch of organizations that are doing work, and on the North Side. And suddenly now it starts looking more like a citywide movement. People start sharing experiences. People start imagining, all right, how can we put together campaigns that bring our collective voices and power to bear? That ends up being very powerful. So, take the time, even as you're doing the work, to make sure that you are reaching out and learning from and in communications with and connecting with others who are doing the work. because none of us can do this alone. When we were talking earlier with Alicia Garza, and she asked me sort of how have I been reflecting on the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement to reimagine public safety. One thing that I wanted to say, but Michael, I could tell I was running out of time and I was taking too long, so I sped up. But one great lesson I think that we've seen over the last 10 years is this movement has not been dependent on a single charismatic leader, but has been a collective leadership, right? Like you don't have one person who's just out there making speeches all the time, or is considered the head spokesperson for everything. And that's powerful when you've got a collective leadership of people who are in communities on the ground, doing things, working together, collaborating. Sometimes this person's taking the lead, sometimes this other person's taking the lead, sometimes this organization has come up with the right answer. They're sharing what worked, to other folks around the country. It's a lot harder to dismantle momentum for a movement when you've got a whole bunch of people all at once who are in communications and coordinating and working together. It's not dependent on one person, and that I think is really important, and it's a good lesson for you and other young organizers who are out there.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to let you keep going. Do you have any questions for either the young men or the slightly older men that we have gathered here today?
They all look young to me. But listen, I think the main question that I've got is all of you are doing outstanding work. Some of you are still so young that, you are essentially getting mentored and helped. And then now, you're trying to give back. Others of you, like Benny and Julio, you guys have been at this a little bit longer. What is it that you think, more than anything, prevents you from expanding the good work that's being done? If suddenly, I was the mayor of LA for a day, and I said, all right, I got my checkbook out and I'm, ready to go, and I've got, community support. So what is it that you need? How would you answer that? Because some of these, for example, diversion programs, we know are important. Rethinking how we deal with probation, right? Which right now is not designed necessarily for folks who are re-entering, society to succeed. It's almost like it's designed to constrain, further punish, but not thrive. What would be sort of the 2 or 3 items that you would say, man, if we really focused on this, then I know we could start seeing impact on scale, as opposed to just seeing, some success, but it's still overwhelmed by the overall system. And maybe I'll start with Julio, and you guys can just kind of go through, each take a crack at that question in the time we've got remaining.
Thank you for that question.
Each of you gets one thing.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Mr. President. I think that's it's a great point, because right now we're in the implementation phase where the community, in a community-led process, has literally mapped out a roadmap to really determine how to develop a very comprehensive alternative to incarceration work plan. We have created, and the community has created, how to reimagine youth justice. Like, they have done the work. What I would suggest at this point, especially for decision makers, our board of supervisors and other key stakeholders in government, is don't declare victory and send everybody home, right? Make sure that community partners can be at the table as the policy goes into the bureaucracy, welcome them into the guts of the system, advocate for them, and hold the departments and agencies accountable to them and us, and ourselves accountable to the community for those results. That's what we're having a challenge. We have the public will, we have political will, we have all the ingredients, but we're still stuck in that bureaucracy of implementation where we're still trying to figure out how to pay for it when we know what the plan is.
Black, you get the last answer, man.
50 seconds. Well, I was just gonna say, echo everything that they said, and just hire young people for the kind of jobs that we want to do: community work, entrepreneurship, and arts opportunities. All of that. That's it.
Fantastic.